begin, let's put the kettle to work. Today we're brewing Syrian Oregano tea. And while our tea steeps, let's talk about a plant that has been cultivated, harvested, and treasured for centuries. Long before oregano became something sprinkled on pizza, Syrian oregano was being grown throughout the Middle East as a culinary herb, a traditional household herb, and an important part of daily life. In fact, one of the most famous seasoning blends in the world, Za'atar, traces its roots back to this remarkable plant. Generations of families have used Syrian oregano in breads, oils, roasted meats, herbal teas, and traditional herbal preparations. And today we're exploring the history, uses, cultivation, and practical value of one of the most fascinating members of the oregano family. Welcome to the Mountain Apothecary, a video series from the Robertson Rottie Ranch where we explore medicinal herbs, traditional herbal knowledge, homestead plants, botany, plant science, and practical ways to use them in everyday life. If you enjoy herbalism, gardening, homesteading, chickens, Rottweilers, and learning how plants work, please subscribe to the Robertson Rottie Ranch and join us for future Mountain Apothecary episodes. Let's get growing. Before we talk about how to grow Syrian oregano, let's talk about why people have continued growing it for thousands of years. Syrian oregano, also known as Origanum syriacum, is native to parts of the Eastern Mediterranean and the Middle East. For generations, it has been valued as both a culinary herb and a traditional herbal plant. In many regions, it became closely associated with hospitality, food preparation, and everyday household use. Unlike some herbs that serve a single purpose, Syrian oregano earned its place by being useful in multiple ways. It flavored food. It stored well. It could be dried for later use. It attracted pollinators. And it was easily grown in challenging conditions. That's exactly the kind of plant that traditional homesteaders appreciated. A plant that pulls its weight. And when most people think about oregano, they usually think about pizza. Syrian oregano offers something different. Its flavor is earthy, savory, aromatic, and slightly nutty. Its most famous culinary role is in Za'atar. Traditional Za'atar blends often combine Syrian oregano with sesame seeds, sumac, and salt. The result is one of the most beloved seasoning blends in Middle Eastern cuisine. Syrian oregano can be used in bread dipping oils, roasted vegetables, soups, stews, egg dishes, chicken dishes, lamb dishes, herbal teas, infused vinegars, seasoning blends, and homemade breads. One of the reasons I enjoy growing herbs is that they allow us to connect gardening directly to the kitchen. Few herbs do that better than Syrian oregano. And one thing I find fascinating is that not all oregano is the same. In fact, here at the Robertson Rottie Ranch, we're currently growing 6 different oregano varieties, and each one has its own personality. If you're looking for a classic pizza and pasta oregano, Mediterranean Greek oregano is hard to beat. It delivers that bold traditional oregano flavor that most people recognize immediately. Italian oregano is a little milder and slightly sweeter. It's an excellent all-purpose culinary oregano and one of the easiest to work into everyday cooking. If you enjoy foods with a little extra kick, hot and spicy oregano adds a stronger, peppery flavor that stands out in sauces and seasoning blends. Mexican oregano is actually a completely different species than true oregano. Its flavor is stronger, slightly citrusy, and commonly used in Mexican and Southwestern dishes. If you're making chili, tacos, enchiladas, or homemade salsa, Mexican oregano often steals the show. Cuban oregano may be the most unusual member of our collection. It develops thick, succulent leaves and produces an incredibly strong aroma. Many people grow it as both a culinary and traditional household herb. And then we arrive at Syrian oregano. Syrian oregano is the oregano that I reach for when I want something deeper, earthier, more complex, slightly nutty. This is the oregano most closely associated with traditional Za'atar blends and Middle Eastern cuisine. If Greek oregano is the pizza specialist, Syrian oregano is the historian carrying centuries of culinary tradition. Honestly, if you enjoy growing herbs, there's a strong argument for having more than one oregano. Each variety brings something unique to the garden, the kitchen, and the homestead. Over the coming weeks, we'll be exploring each of these oregano varieties individually here on the Mountain Apothecary. So if you'd like to learn more about any of them, be sure to subscribe and follow the playlist. And now that we've talked about why Syrian oregano is worth growing, let's take a closer look at the plant itself. Syrian oregano belongs to the Lamiaceae family, commonly known as the mint family. Other members of this family include rosemary, thyme, sage, basil, lavender, lemon balm, and mint. Like many members of the mint family, Syrian oregano features square stems and highly aromatic foliage. The leaves contain naturally occurring aromatic compounds, including thymol and carvacrol. These compounds contribute to the plant's distinctive fragrance and flavor. Interestingly, these compounds aren't there for our benefit. They help protect the plant from pests, environmental stress, and herbivores. What we experience as aroma is actually part of the plant's survival strategy. Nature is remarkably efficient that way. Syrian oregano thrives in full sun. The more sunlight it receives, the stronger its aroma and flavor generally become. It prefers well-drained soil and performs best in soil with a pH between 6 and 8. And once established, Syrian oregano is relatively drought tolerant. In fact, overwatering is often a greater threat than underwatering. Think Mediterranean hillside, rather than swampy garden bed. One reason I frequently recommend oregano to beginning gardeners is how easy it is to propagate. Syrian oregano can be propagated from seed, division, or cuttings. And at the Robertson Rottie Ranch, we frequently propagate through cuttings. A healthy stem can often root successfully in water, soil, or a propagation medium. With proper care, one healthy plant can eventually provide many additional plants. The leaves are the primary harvestable portion of Syrian oregano. For the strongest flavor and aroma, harvest it shortly before it's flowering. Morning harvests after the dew has dried are often the best. Regular harvesting encourages bushier growth and healthier plants. Fortunately, Syrian oregano responds very well to being harvested, which is convenient because you'll probably want to use it often. Once harvested, Syrian oregano stores exceptionally well. Fresh stems can be kept in water for short-term storage. For long-term use, the leaves can be air-dried or dehydrated at low temperatures. And after drying, I prefer storing herbs in glass mason jars. For even longer storage, vacuum sealing them helps preserve the flavor, the aroma, and the overall quality. I use this every day. Properly stored oregano can maintain excellent quality for about a year. If you're finding this information helpful, take a moment to like the video. It helps more gardeners, herbal enthusiasts, and homesteaders discover the channel. Throughout history, oregano has held an important place in traditional herbal practices. Traditional herbalists have often used oregano to support respiratory health, digestive comfort, and general wellness. In traditional Mediterranean cultures, oregano tea and infusions have been enjoyed for generations. Modern scientific research continues to investigate the compounds such as thymol and carvacrol for their biological activity. And one of the most interesting aspects of herbalism is seen where traditional observations and modern research begin to overlap. And as always, herbs should not be viewed as substitutes for professional medical care. When allowed to flower, Syrian oregano becomes an excellent pollinator plant. Bees, butterflies, and numerous beneficial insects are attracted to its blooms. Even a small herb garden can become an important food source for pollinators. Every flowering herb contributes to the health of the local ecosystem. How would Syrian oregano have earned its place on a homestead? Simple. It provides food, flavor, storage stability, pollinator support, traditional herbal value, and easy propagation. A single plant can serve multiple purposes throughout the year. That's exactly the kind of versatility that homesteads have valued for generations. Many people also ask whether oregano is safe around pets. Syrian oregano is generally considered safe in normal garden settings. As with any herb, excessive consumption may result in digestive upset. Most dogs and cats show little interest in consuming significant amounts, even Ferrari. Although every Rottweiler operates under its own management structure. For chickens, oregano is one of the most commonly discussed herbs among poultry keepers. Many flock owners incorporate oregano regularly into their nesting box blends, herbal mixes, and occasional treats. Fresh herbs can provide enrichment while encouraging natural foraging behaviors. Whether the chickens appreciate the oregano or simply judging my gardening decisions remains an ongoing mystery. If you've ordered a Syrian oregano cutting from Mountain Apothecary, here's what I recommend. Open the package as soon as possible. Inspect the cutting. Place it into water or your preferred rooting medium. We include a rock wool cube in every shipment. Provide bright indirect light. Keep the cutting evenly moist while the roots develop. Be patient. Healthy roots first. New growth second. The goal isn't speed. The goal is establishing a healthy plant that can thrive for years to come. And even as this episode airs, cutting from our own Syrian oregano plant are making their way to a new home on the West Coast. That's one of the things I love most about growing herbs. A plant that begins its life in one garden can continue its journey somewhere else. One of my favorite things about Syrian oregano is how it connects us to history. When you harvest a few leaves from this plant, you're participating in traditions that stretch back through generations. Many herbs have fascinating stories. Syrian oregano carries an entire cultural heritage in its leaves. And after spending some time with Syrian oregano today. I think our tea is finally ready. Warm, earthy, savory, aromatic. Everything that you'd expect from one of the oldest and most respected herbs in cultivation. Syrian oregano remains one of the most fascinating and versatile herbs in the garden, offering culinary value, traditional herbal history, pollinator support, and a direct connection to centuries of human cultivation. If you enjoyed this episode, please like the video, subscribe to the Robertson Rottie Ranch, and explore the full Mountain Apothecary playlist, where we are documenting our growing collection of medicinal herbs, culinary herbs, and homestead plants. Leave a comment below and let me know, which oregano variety would you most like to grow? Until next time, my friends, stay rooted in tradition and grown with intention. And we'll see you in the next episode.